Hi. Yes, madam.
Is everybody here acquainted with the Sakai page for Thea 331?
Yes,
Yes,
madam.
madam.
That's great. And I've seen that you have submitted your assignments for assignment 1, the group work.
Yes, madam.
Did you have any challenges doing the group work?
No, please.
Great. So it means everybody participated. All
Yes,
right.
please.
That's great. Okay, so I'm sure you have read already the progression of the course. I shoot a video, I put it up there, and I move according to the various structuring and the various topics that are on your lesson page. And so when I put the picture, when I put um, the lessons up, you're supposed to watch and and try to make sense of the teaching. And if you don't understand anything, I have created a questions forum at forum on your Sakai page. And you can just go there, put your question down, or you can wait until we have a live session like this. Yesterday, I had a class with the main campus class, and it was very exciting. We got the opportunity to iron out certain difficulties they had working together as a group, and also certain questions they had about their reading and certain challenges they had with the course itself. And we were able to iron all of them out. So it is very important that as you are reading, as you are watching the lesson videos, you constantly engage with me so that you are not just moving along even though you don't understand something. And so this live session we are having, it is for you to ask questions. It is not a lesson um, lecture, because it's an opportunity, as you have read on the Sakai page already in the course description and progression. It is an opportunity for you to ask me questions that are bothering you, or certain challenges that you may be having with the course, something you don't understand, so that I can explain it to you. Because my core aim is to ensure that you are growing in the course, that you understand what you are doing and you are enjoying what you are doing. Many of you may be in this program not by choice, but as you are here, you might as well benefit from what it can give you. Don't see analysis and interpretation as just restricted or limited to theater arts. See it as a skill building course that can help you to become very analytical, that can help you to become a better writer. Because if you want to write, whether creative writing or even critical writing, the art of analyzing a play to communicate your thoughts is very is a very important skill that you can transfer to other writing endeavors. So it is very important that you take this course very seriously. And as we are moving on, if you don't understand anything, you have to talk to me. You have to use the questions forum. You have to talk to my TA, David Agri. He's here on the platform, and I'm sure he's on your WhatsApp sites as well. So don't move ahead in the course when you are confused about something. But you also have the responsibility of making sure that you have watched all the videos, you have read the plays you are supposed to read, not just summaries, but actually read the play. That is the only way you will enjoy this course. Because imagine you haven't read the text. When you come to class, it's difficult for you to ask meaningful questions. It's very difficult for you to ask meaningful questions that can foster understanding of the course. So sometimes when students um, engage with plays that a lot has been written on them online, they see it as an opportunity to do lazy work, where they just go on the internet, read summaries, and then they think they have read the play. This attitude is not going to help, because what we are doing in this course is to build a certain level of competence. And so at the end of it all, you should be able to account for your learning. You should be able to say, I can do this. I can pick up any play and analyze it. And by extension, I can pick up any document. I can watch a film and analyze it, because film analysis is also a certain it it picks from the skill of analyzing plays. Because when you watch a movie, you'll be able to identify characters, you'll be able to identify the theme, you'll be able to identify the plot, talk about it in a very meaningful way. And so it is transferable, and you can do a lot with writing skills. And reading plays helps you to become a better writer. It helps you to be analytical, because as you are reading and analyzing and communicating your thoughts about that particular play, it helps you to build that skill to be able to give a well founded, um, theoretically um, founded analysis and critique of a particular work of art you come into contact with. So don't take the class lightly. At this point, I would like to invite questions. As you were going through the Sakai page, as you were going through the videos, what challenges came up? Pearl, I can see your hand up.
Madam, please, I would like you to elaborate more on the differences between dramatic time and then the time of action.
Okay, that's a very good question, Pearl. So the time of action is actually the time that the play is set, and it's different from dramatic time, because dramatic time is just the time that passes in the plot from when the play begins to when the curtain is down. That is the dramatic time. So in a doll's house, it is 3 consecutive days, the time that passes. And when you look at Mother Courage, you will have to calculate the years, because they state the various dates. And yesterday, the main campus class were drawing my attention to the fact that when they calculated Mother Courage, they realized that it is 12 years, the dramatic time from when it began till when Catherine dies and Mother Courage moves off with the other soldiers and it ended. It was a span of 12 years. That's dramatic time. It is the time of the action, the time that runs through the course of the play. So, like I said, in a doll's house, it is just 3 consecutive days. But the time of action is when it is set. It's for now, if I should write a play, or if we should collaborate to write a play, and we give it the time of action of today, meaning 21st century Ghana, or 2021 Ghana, 2021. That is the time of action. And the circumstances that I will present will reveal indeed that it is Ghana today. And if 10 years later someone picks up this play to work with or to analyze, the person will say the play was set in 2021. The time of action was 2021, because either it was written at the beginning of the play in the notes, or the characters may speak it, they may say it. Sometimes in the dialogue, somebody may receive a newspaper and the person will just check the date and say something, and through that you'll be able to know the date. Or like in Death of a Salesman, where, I mean, it's one of the plays we'll be doing. I'm sure you've seen it on the outline. In Death of a Salesman, for instance, you realize that the general atmosphere and references made to the Depression, the American Depression, economic downturn. When you go back into the history of America, you know that it is set in the 1930s. It was set in the 1930s. And so there are certain circumstances presented in the play that tells you when it is set. But sometimes, too lucky for you, you may find that, oh, it is already stated in the notes, like in Mother Courage, where they tell us that it was set it was set during the 30-year war of the 17th century. That's when it was set. But it doesn't mean that that was when it was written. It was written in the 1930s, but it was set in a different time, in the 17th century. So the time of action is the time, is the setting in terms of time. In A Doll's House, it is the 19th century, Norway, 19th century. That's the setting. But then you know that the dramatic time is just 3 days from when Nora entered the living room with the potter and the Christmas tree and everything till when she left. It's all happened within 3 days. And so that is the dramatic time. So the time that passes through the action of the play. And then the time of action is the time that the play is set in. So in the case of A Doll's House, it is 19th century Norway. Okay. Pearl, does it make sense?
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay. Any more questions? Hello. Please try and ask questions. This is what the class is about. Okay. You've watched videos and you have done group work on 2 plays so far. I'm sure you are working on Mother Courage and her children, but you may have some questions. And your questions should come from the lessons you have watched, as well as the plays you have read. So it is not about, I don't understand everything. It has to be very specific, which tells me that you have watched the video lessons, you have read the plays, and you have even engaged with forum discussions on the play. And that's one thing I want to say. In going through the forum discussions, I saw that some of you have responded to the forum, but then you didn't really engage with the question. So if I ask a question about 19th century Norway and the restrictions on women in a doll's house, and I talk about Mrs. Linden asking how she is able to work as a woman, you don't just give me a brief summary of a doll's house and leave it at that. You have not engaged the question. And so that will not do. When you read the forum question and you do not understand it, and I did the setting such that you don't read other people's responses before you putting out your response. But if you don't understand the question, I encourage you to just use the questions forum and ask me to explain the question. But I've tried to make the question really plain. If you don't understand still, just say you don't understand. And then I'll respond to you, explain further, and then you can give me a more fitting response to the forum discussion. It's a discussion, and I have also said that it's very important for you to engage with what your colleagues have written in response. So when you put out your response, you will then be able to see what others have also written about the topic. Then you can engage with it. And the forum is very important. It fetches you 20 marks, and it has to be meaningful. Okay, I can see 2 hands or 1. Beatrice. Hi,
Yes, madam.
Beatrice.
Yes, madam.
How
Good
are
morning.
you?
Please, I'm fine,
Good
thank you.
morning. Talk to
Please,
me.
my question is based on the doll's house. I'm asking,
Okay.
how do you call it? In the beginning of the play, we could tell that the season or the time of the play was during Christmas. Could that be
Yes.
a dramatic time?
No, that's definitely part of the time, but then it is time of action, not dramatic time. It is time of action. When does the play happen? So the bigger time in terms of the setting is 19th century, and then specific season. You can talk about the specific season in which it happens, and that is Christmas time. So it is in terms of time of action, not dramatic time. The dramatic time is the time that runs through the course of the play. So um, if it started on Monday, and then they go through the course of the play and it ends on Wednesday, that is the dramatic time. Okay. So
Okay.
the Christmas season should be stated as part of the time of action. Okay.
Yes, madam.
All right.
It's clear now. Thank you.
Thank you, Beatrice, for your good question. Joel. Joel, I can see your hand up.
Yeah, hello. Good morning, madam.
Good morning, Joel. How are you?
Madam, I'm blessed. How are you doing too, madam?
I'm well by grace. What's your question?
Madam, my question is that you made a statement concerning the forum questions, like the way we were answering them, that we shouldn't just give a brief and just leave it.
Yes.
In my opinion, and in my answers, what I did was that I just spoke about the fact that Madam Lin in the 19th century, women were not all that allowed to work. I mean, in a specific way. And so Madam Linden, she was only working because she was a widow and she was also childless. So for that matter, nobody to look for and nobody to also look after. Nobody to look for nobody. So that's what I use as but in a very brief form. But as you said it right now,
It's important. Yeah.
Yes.
What you have written is a very good response to the question. It's a very good response to the question because Mrs. Linden is not a married woman anymore. When she married the rich man, I'm sure she was also living like Nora, where she had servants and she could just, I mean, she doesn't need to work. Her husband is expected by society to take care of her, like the way Nora's husband sees it as his responsibility to take care of her and therefore does not even want to see her working. And so it was out of necessity. And also, it tells you about the class structuring. So this one concerns the middle class. And you can see it clearly in their professions. You see that Torvald is a lawyer and he's about to become a bank manager in January, right, at the new year. And then there is Dr. Rank, and then you have Krogstad, who is also a lawyer and a bank clerk. And so amongst this class of people, that is the norm. But then when you have a woman who is from the working class, then of course she has to work. There's nobody taking care of her, so she has to work. And so it also has to do with the specific class of people. And that's why I'm saying that your response is very good, because Mrs. Linden, since her husband's death, has had to work to take care of her sick mother and her two brothers. And so that rule did not apply to her anymore, you see. And Krogstad, even though he was trained as a lawyer, like Torvald said that they were classmates when they were in school, he's not well off. He's always finding ways to make ends meet. And so as Mrs. Linden is joining him, she still has the urge to work. She came there to take over his position. And so she will still be working. But it has to do with that marital setting, that middle class standard. So it's a social standard that governs the way the middle class should behave. And so your response is good. She has had to work all her life. And so it separates her from Nora, who is married with a husband who believes that, I mean, of course, per the standards of the class in the 19th century, they are supposed to be the sole breadwinners, the males, and they are supposed to take very good care of, of their wives, so that if his wife is to be seen working, it will actually be a negative impression of him. You see, people will think that he has let down his responsibility. He's not taking good care of his wife, so she's having to work, and so it will make him look bad. But Mrs. Linden doesn't have to face such a problem. And you can see clearly that Krogstad might not have a problem with Mrs. Linden working to support him and his children, because already he has been seen to be somebody who doesn't really work with the standards of the society. Else he wouldn't have lent money to Nora. You see, so Joel, I think it's a good response. Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Okay. There was another hand up earlier. Oh, I don't see any hand up yet. Is this the entire class? How many are you? Do you have a course rep, or do you have a representative, a level representative here? Hello? Is there a course rep
Hello, madam.
amongst you? Yes,
Please,
Beatrice.
I have a contribution towards Mrs.
Okay.
Linden's. Yeah, madam, can you
Okay,
also
Beatrice.
say for the fact that her late husband didn't leave anything behind for her in terms of money, job, or anything at all that she could use to fend herself, gave her that feeling to get a job and to do to look after herself. Could that also be a
Very
reason?
good. Yes, very good, Beatrice. It is a key reason because, in the first place, she married the man because of his money,
Yes,
because
madam.
he could take care of her family. And so when the man died, she had to do something else to take care of her family. So it is a very good reason. Definitely add that. Okay.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
All right. Who is your course rep? Do you have a course rep? Joel.
Yes, madam. Madam, please, I have a question.
Sure.
I'm sorry for not answering the question. My question is concerning the Madam Carriage. Madam Carriage seems to be like an heroine in the beginning of the play. And we can see her as like a protagonist. By the end, it's more or less that she's an antagonist. I don't really understand it. The children order.
Oh,
We don't know exactly.
I like what you have just said. What do others think? I would like to hear what others think. Yes. What do you think, Pearl?
Madam, please, concerning Mother Courage, I think
Yes, the
at the
fact that
beginning
from the beginning she seemed to be a protagonist, and then in the end it's like she's the antagonist.
okay, her main purpose was to make some money off the war. So in order for her to survive and also to take care of her children, even though she didn't want her children to go into that situation of being killed by the war and all that, because they themselves get themselves in and then they've been killed. She doesn't have to do anything else because on her main aim that is to make money off the war and then survive. I doubt she.
Yes. You doubt she's the antagonist. Okay. All right. I mean, it's a very interesting view, and I would like us to explore it further. Is there any other person who has a perspective on Joel's impression of Mother Courage? Hello, talk to me. Feel free, whatever thoughts you have about what Joel has said. Let's hear it because you've all read the play. So let's hear it. Is she a protagonist turned antagonist? Hello. Henry.
Yes, madam. Good morning.
Okay. Good morning.
From the story, good morning. Yeah, from the story, we could see that she was, in a way, helping the soldiers. But if you really watch the thing, you can see that she was doing the thing for herself. But in the end, it turned out.
Hello, in the end, it turned out to be what? I didn't hear that part. Hello, Henry. Henry, are you there?
Yes, madam.
I didn't hear the latter part of your submission.
in the end, it turned out that it was actually helping herself. Yeah, but
She was
in the
helping
beginning,
herself.
yeah, in the beginning, we thought she was helping what the soldiers during the war, but she was really helping herself. But in the end, we got to know that she was actually helping herself. So I think she was an antagonist all along.
Whoa. This is really interesting. I'm so happy to be hearing these views. Any more? I'll start mentioning names. Hello. Any more? I can see William. William, are you here? William, William, I can see a text here. I think the antagonist in the movie is the war. Movie, Rahima, did you watch a movie? Hello, Rahima. Hello, Rahima.
Yes,
I just
madam.
saw your
Madam.
message. Did you watch a movie?
No, madam. Sorry, I typed wrong.
Okay. So, what you think the antagonist is the war?
Yes, madam.
Why do you say that?
Well, madam, I think Mother Courage was in support of the war, but then in the movie, the war killed her children. So I think the antagonist is the war.
The antagonist is the war.
Yes, madam.
Okay. That's interesting, because if you saw her as a protagonist in the beginning and then towards the end something else takes what she loves away from her, then it is that thing that is the antagonist. That's your argument, Rahima. Okay.
Yes, madam.
Any more views? Let's explore this further. It's
Madam.
really interesting, this submission that Henry made.
Madam.
Yes, who else?
Madam, please,
Who
I
is
have a
speaking?
question.
There's a question.
Yes.
I'm not hearing you very well. Who is it? What's your name?
Madam, please, it's Beatrice. Beatrice.
Let me switch from the headphones. I think it's giving me a setting that's not helping. Hello?
Hello, madam. Please, can you hear me now?
Great, I can hear you now. I think it was my headphones.
Oh, okay.
Talk to
Madam,
me.
please, my question is, do we have situations, or can there be a situation where the protagonist in a play can turn out to be an antagonist? Because from what I know and from my own point of view and observation, I think protagonists mainly or mostly turn out to be protagonists throughout an entire play. So I don't think I don't think
that by the end she will change. Okay. That's
I think,
a good point.
madam, please, and I think if a protagonist should turn out to be an antagonist, I don't think it's entirely an antagonist. It was just for a purpose of something, but it's not entirely an antagonist. I don't think it works that way.
Oh, okay. So in the Greek sense, in terms of the origins of antagonist and protagonist, protagonist is somebody who is for the argument. Antagonist is somebody who is against the argument. And so the whole idea is, normally within a play, you have conflict. So this tension between two opposing forces, you start with somebody who is believed to be the protagonist pursuing an objective. And then it is what prevents that person from from achieving her objective or his objective, that becomes the opposing force in a conflict. And so in this case, one of the main things you should understand is that a protagonist or um, a protagonist generally, if you are to um, get a sense of grip of who a protagonist is, you can generally define that person as the main character driving the story forward. The person doesn't have to be good. That's the person you are following. That's the person whose story you are following, is the main character. And so that main character has objectives. That's the person driving the story forward. It is the travels of Mother Courage that drives the plot forward. And so she's definitely the protagonist. She's the main character. Now, when she starts at the beginning, she has the objective to profit from the war. And you can see from the way she's going, apart from profiting from the war, there is also survival. But at the end of the day, does she really profit from the war? Does she?
No,
Earlier
no.
somebody was saying that she was interested in her profit. She was interested in her profit and not helping the soldiers. It was never her intention to help the soldiers, right from the beginning. Even there was this scene where there was a blast when the Catholics invaded. There was a blast that maimed some peasants. When they wanted bandages, she didn't have, and they were going to pick the officers' shirts to tend to the wounds of these peasants. You saw how she protested. She wasn't interested in helping anyone but herself and her children. But even that is also very contestable, because is she really interested in helping her children? At the end of the day,
No.
what has been driving her kept driving her even when she lost the children. And when she was supposed to, um, was it Beatrice who spoke about the fact that um, she she tried to warn her children, but then they themselves decided to go, and so we cannot blame her. That's also true to some extent. But under the circumstances, do you think the children could have restrained themselves from participating in the war? The whole idea is you cannot profit from the war and not lose something to it. That's the whole idea. Her main objective is to profit from the war. But you cannot profit from the war without losing something to it. And that is what that is what happens to Mother Courage. She thought she was profiting from the war. She was called by the chaplain as the hyena of the battlefield. Hyenas are generally opportunistic. They try to take advantage of vulnerabilities. They try to take advantage of situations. And so she tried to take advantage of the war. But this is war. War often benefits a certain group of people, not those at the heart of it. Those at the heart of it are actually fighting the war for those who actually benefit from it. And so she lived under the illusion that she was profiting from the war. But at the end of the day, she lost everything to it. So you you have heroes and you have anti-heroes. There are some heroes that are, have generally good character, good values, and all that. So it makes it easy for you to support them. But you have some other heroes who are not so morally upright. You have heroes who are so flawed, but they are still heroes. And this goes against the Aristotelian sense of hero being somebody who is good, somebody who is of high standing, somebody with high moral values and all that. When you look at Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman, he is supposed to be a hero, but he doesn't speak in the elevated language that Aristotle describes for the hero. And in terms of morals, he is immoral, as you will see when you read the play, because of his cheating. But he's still the hero. It just goes to tell you the complexity of human beings, where none of us is perfect. We may try to be, but we are not perfect. And so how do you present a hero as somebody who is just upright? Even within the Aristotelian sense, there's that thing called hamasha, which is more like a fault, a tragic flaw, what we call a tragic flaw. I'm sure you have learned about the tragic flaw in your 212 class, right? Have you heard it before when you were doing Oedipus? Hello?
Yes, madam.
Hi.
Have you heard of the tragic flaw?
No,
It's a yes or no.
but it's more of a no, I think so.
Okay. So when Aristotle defined tragedy, he spoke about the qualities of the tragic hero. And one of the things, apart from the hero being of high standing in society, meaning coming from the aristocratic family, he spoke about the person having high moral standing or standard. But then there's that thing, that error in judgment that makes the character flawed. And so the tragic flaw is more like an error in judgment. Even though the person is good, the person has great qualities and all that, there's still that error in judgment that causes the person to fall. Like in the case of Oedipus, where he made a very wrong judgment at the time he met his father at the crossroads. And I mean, the fight ensued because of that tragic flaw, an error in judgment stemming from his inner character, which is somebody who is arrogant. So he made an error in judgment and then kills his father unknowingly. So even in the classical sense of the protagonist, there is still some kind of flaw. But when we came into the 20th century and other theorists started talking about tragedy, they're like, the common man or woman should also be the hero of a tragedy. It is not only people who are kings and queens and princes and all that who should be the hero of tragedy. And so you have characters like Willie Loman, you have a character like Mother Courage. She's just a canteen woman.
Madam,
Yes,
please, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can we
that's fine.
term Antigone as a tragic flaw hero?
Why would you do that? What's your explanation?
With regards to the play Antigone,
Yes, I understand, but what's your explanation?
oh, how do I term it? She still came out as the hero by going against the rules set
But what is her flaw? That she's stubborn.
By can you say
Burying her
marrying
brother.
his brother. Yeah, hey, her brother.
Her
Sorry.
brother. Yes, she's the hero. And it is always in the classic sense because she's trying to fight a cause. She wants the right thing to be done. Even though her uncle thinks that because her brother had betrayed his country, he should suffer the most terrible consequences. But then she felt the right thing has to be done because the kind of death he suffered and the way they wanted his body to keep lying there for vultures and all that to be picking on it, it is going to make his soul wander forever. And she doesn't want that for her brother. After all, he is royalty. So if he has made an error, he shouldn't be made to suffer forever. And so she fought for what was right. So she's also a tragic hero, you see. She's also a tragic hero. And normally, the error in judgment and the tragic flaw and all that, it doesn't stem from the person being evil. It stems from the person's own character that I cannot
Please,
allow this to be. You see,
smokers.
hello, who is that? That I cannot allow this to happen. And so I will risk myself in order to do the right thing. And it is the same thing that happened to Oedipus. He had already committed to dealing with the one who brought the plague upon Thebes. And so when it came out that he did that, he had to suffer the consequences because he has been established as a man with principles. And Antigone also went ahead with her principles and her belief that the right thing has to be done. So, yeah, you can look at it in that sense. But we are talking about Mother Courage and the fact that even though she may appear to be an antagonist because of her actions, she's not an antagonist. In fact, what has she done? What has she done to anybody? Right at the beginning, she told all her children about their fate because she can see the future. And she tried to protect them. Each of them did what they felt they wanted to do. Aleph has always had that. Even look at what he tells the recruitment officer. That he will smack him across the face for calling him a baby or something. And that he's brave. Look, he can fight. You see, he's always had that desire to fight. And so, in spite of everything she's told him, when she pulled the black cross, he still went. And she also saw the black cross for what's his name? Swiss cheese. And she saw the black cross for Catherine. And she was even surprised. That's Catherine, you're not going to be in the war. Why are you pulling a black cross? She didn't know the heroic act that Catherine would be doing based on her love for children. When it was mentioned that there are children in that village that will be attacked, Catherine didn't mind risking her life to save them. And so Mother Courage has already said that in times of war, virtues mean nothing. Virtues will actually get you killed. And so there was nothing she could do for her children. She cannot tie them up. They're growing, they are grown, they could make their decisions. She could not do anything else. She's told them. And she has tried as much as possible to keep them from going, but they went. And so she was also looking out for herself. How can I survive this? And in the case of Aleph, Swiss cheese, if she had said that she knew him, all the people around her, including herself, would be killed.
because they would be seen as conspirators, you see. So she made decisions for her survival, but she also harbored the illusion that she was benefiting from the war, when in actual fact, she was losing everything to the war. And the tragedy of it all is that even at the end, she did not see what the war was taking from her. She kept going. She couldn't see it. That makes it really tragic because she's lost her children. And she couldn't even stay to properly bury her last child. That action could be seen as anti-motherly, unmotherly, right? Almost antagonistic. But
Yeah.
these are very different times. The times of what she has seen death too many times to care. She has become even numb. And I think right at the point when she prophesied and saw the deaths of all her children, she knew it was just a matter of time. It was just a matter of time. So she had actually hardened herself and prepared herself for it. It was only a matter of time, you see. So she's not the antagonist here. She's actually the hero of the play. And sometimes, in order to determine who the hero is, sometimes the title even tells you. And the title is what? Mother Courage and Her Children. It's not about the children, it is about her and her children. And so it is always her relations to her children. And her children are not just limited to the children we have seen in the play. Alif, Catherine, and Swiss cheese. No, it's a general, it's more like she's a type character. And then her children are also types. A type character is a character that represents um, a larger group in society. And so in every war, you have people trying to profit from it at the lower levels. But it is only those who orchestrated the war. They are the ones who benefit from it, not those on the ground. All those on the ground, you can see everybody trying to benefit from it. Everybody trying to survive by cheating, selling things. Look at some of the soldiers coming to sell their military weapons to Mother Courage so she could also resell it, tweaking invoices here and there so they can also survive. Yvette Portier also trying to get somebody to hang on to the point that she sells her body in the war in order to also survive. Everybody cheating everybody. Mother Courage taking advantage to sell her wares at a very high price because it is war. And so she's taking advantage and selling, thinking she's profiting, but she's really not profiting. At the end of the day, it is taking everything away from her. You see the situation where there was a bombing and they just came and removed her things and used it to take care of others. Now, a situation can also happen where a bomb is thrown and her canteen is blown up. It is all risk with no benefits at all. As much as she thinks she's gaining, she's losing. And the bigger loss is that of all her children. And so she's not the antagonist. But it is a very interesting point because of the way. Joel, is your hand up again?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Madam,
Talk to me.
excuse me to interrupt you. My point is that, madam, can we also say that Mother Courage, she's an hero by a bad hero, in a sense that when a first child, Swiss cheese, no, not sweet, not a first, but Swiss cheese was
Alif.
was
Alif
killed.
is the first one.
Yes, but when Swiss cheese was killed, it was killed in a way that it was protecting a pay book, of which when they found out later that she had been engaged in a lot of bribery and corruption. And when she was even asked, she denied even knowing a son.
Yeah.
She denied even being involved in that. So, madam, can we say per this part of the play that she's a hero, but a quite bad hero?
That is why I said she's an anti-hero. That's the name. So instead of a bad hero, it is anti-hero. An anti-hero is the kind of hero that doesn't behave like a hero, that you wouldn't, it doesn't have all the great qualities that you would want to associate with a hero. But in relation to that, that's why I said that right at the beginning, she had already told all of them their fate. They will all die in the war, because when she did the prophecy, she saw the black cross for all of them. You saw that, right, Joel?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Yes. And so she was acting in a very pragmatic way. She's being practical. If I know that this person, based on his decision to join the army, he's going to die anyway, when they bring him to question whether she knows him or not, if she says yes, she, Catherine, Yvette, and all the people around her will all be taken away to be killed. Who has won? What's the point? The war has hardened her to come to terms with death. And you can see that it wasn't like it was normal times for a mother to say that I do not know my child, go and kill him. It is war. And they are looking for anybody who is associated with this person who has already been declared to be killed. And so if she behaved in a very pragmatic way, she's thinking about her daughter, Catherine, who is dumb. She cannot survive on her own. And so even when they were negotiating the 200 that she was supposed to have paid for his release, she was still thinking about keeping some so that she can start her canteen business all over again. And she spoke about Catherine. Who is going to take care of Catherine if I lose it all? You see, so she made very pragmatic decisions under the circumstances. She's a hero, but she's an anti-hero. And it doesn't mean that she doesn't love her children. She did. But if she knows that there are more children to take care of, and one person has gone to get himself into something she has told him not to, and they have come, and the consequences is that they will kill him and anybody associated with him, do you think it will be a good idea? Would you say you know him in times of
No,
war?
no.
You see? So she made that decision in a very pragmatic way, looking at those who have survived and how she can still take care of them, rather than getting all of them killed. For what reason? By the end of the day, her continual survival only extends her suffering. But that is what she does not see. And that's what makes it even more tragic. Where she's going around thinking I am benefiting from this war, when the war is actually living off of her. She is fueling it. She is supplying the things it needs to continue and taking everything she has in the process. So, Joel, she is a hero, but an anti-hero. A hero that you would love to hate. A hero that you would think, as for this, your action. But then when you look deeper, you will also be able to understand why she did what she did. So she didn't do it out of sheer wickedness. She did it for the continual survival of those who could survive. Okay?
Yes, please. Madam.
Yes.
Madam, please, based on the play, what kind of theme can perfectly fit for the team, for the play?
No, nobody can give you that. You can just get a general sense of war. But if you're thinking about theme as in a moral theme, as in the central idea, you have to determine that for yourself and explain why you think so. Do you understand? You can generally say that Mother Courage is about the business of war as business, because you see all the characters engaging in one form of transaction or the other, negotiating at all times for survival. But you have read the play, so you should be able to look for the central idea connecting each of the incidents, and then you'll be able to determine it. And this is something I want you to know right from the outset, that there is no one understanding of a play. Any work of art is open to interpretation. So far as you are able to say, I think the theme of this play is this, that, you should be able to explain why. And if you should pick any point of the play at all, it will be able to speak to that theme. Then it means that is the theme, because it is right at the heart of it. It is at the center. When you look at a doll's house and the whole idea of unequal relationships between a man and his wife, or between men and women in the 19th century society, right at the beginning of the play, throughout to the end, you see that unequal relationship. Until that point, the falling action where Nora engages Torvald in a conversation that draws his attention to that unequal relationship. Because right at the beginning, the moment we see Nora come in, she was hiding a pack of macaroons that she was eating, which her husband had said she should not eat. Now, the only way somebody can tell you don't eat this is if the person has a higher authority than you. And so she begins to hide it from him. And then moving forward, Krogstad, Mrs. Linden comes to her that she needs a job, and then she goes to her husband and begs him. If she had equal standing within the marriage, she could say, oh, Mrs. Linden, you have the job. And then she goes to tell her husband that, oh, I have given Mrs. Linden a job in your company. So, and then everything will be normal because the relationship is equal. But no, the relationship is not equal, and she's had to go and beg him. And when Krogstad blackmailed her to plead with her husband to give him back his job or maintain his job, she had to go and beg him, and said she would do all manner of things. She would play for him. She would do anything. She would dance, so that it's just like a child doing all forms of gimmicks just to get you to give him or her something. And so the relationship is not equal. And then moving on, even the Tarantella dance, he is the one who said she should do it. So you can see, if you pick the unequal relations between men and women represented within the marital home, then you can see this idea at every point, connecting the dots. And so when you pick it as the central idea, you should be able to link it back to everything, every scene within the play. Joel, are you there? Joel, are you there? Hello?
Papa G.
I don't think he.
Hello, madam. Please, I'm here. I
Joe,
think
Joe,
it's a
are you
network
there?
problem.
Yes. So it is up to you.
Madam,
But do you understand how to get the central idea from the example I've given of a doll's
yes,
house?
please, madam.
Yes, you should
Yes, please.
all look for that central idea. The only way to come to, I mean, I'll be treating theme, and then you will find how to locate the theme. And the fact that the theme, of course, in every play, you will have so many themes, but it is important for you to locate that particular theme that connects all the ideas, so that when you pick that as the central idea, you will be able to find it in each of the scenes, connecting it all back to the central idea you have identified. So I want you to understand that this is analysis. Feel free. There's no one way of analyzing or understanding a play. I'm only giving you the tools necessary for you to be able to do that independently. And in this class, I really want to hear fresh voices, fresh ideas. Let's make new meanings out of the plays we are reading, because each of you have backgrounds and experiences that gives you a unique worldview. And so when you read a play, this comes to bear on the play you have read. You will develop a whole new understanding of it. And so you should trust that voice. Trust that voice, communicate it, find a way to communicate it, and give evidence as to why you are thinking this way. And it makes the learning richer. You grow, your mind is expanded. You'll be able to understand and develop your own voice, so that whatever you come into contact with, whether political, whether issues in the news, issues as they pertain to law, philosophical issues, you should be able to have an opinion about it and trust that voice and be able to find evidence to back that voice of yours. It is very important. I am all for the unique voices that you could bring to the interpretation of plays. And so I want to encourage free expression. If you have an idea, you think that this is what the play means, I really want you to pursue that. And so avoid what I call second-hand thinking, where when you are supposed to read a play, you read it and then go and read what others have said about it and use those as your understanding of the play. You have learned nothing. You haven't grown. You haven't challenged your mind to think independently. Yes, it is okay to look at what others have written, but what do you say? What do you say? That is what is most important, because that is what is going to foster your learning and growth. So please, as you are in analysis and interpretation class, I want you to be very analytical. I want you to engage your feelings and your thoughts and your experiences to come up with new meanings and understand anything your values. Sometimes a character behaves in a certain way, and I mean, this goes against your values and you don't think it is right. And so you can use that as a point of discussion. And then now look at it within the context of the character and say that, yeah, it is understandable that this person will do this and this and this and this and that. But then it is a wrong action based on your beliefs. And so it helps you to have a certain attachment, a certain enlightenment about the play in relation to your own thinking. So please bear this in mind throughout our engagement, your engagement with this course. Bear this in mind. When you meet to discuss plays as a group, you should come up with your own understandings and forge, a certain interpretation that falls in line with your own values and thinking and experiences which gives us a fresh understanding of the play. Every time you read a play, there's a new meaning you get. There's something new. There's always something to discover. Oh, the writer said this. I didn't get it at the first reading. What did you think about this? I think it is actually the heart. It represents the theme, you know. So I really encourage you to be very open, in your learning, and to be very active in your learning. That is the only way you will thrive in this class. That is the only way you will come away with a lot of skills, which you can then transfer to other endeavors as well. All right. So this is all I want to say in our interactions today. And so as you go back to work in your groups and all that, bear all of these things in mind. And I've extended the deadline for Mother Courage to Monday. I've changed it at your assignment, so you can
Thank you.
have
Thank
time.
you, madam.
Welcome.
Thank you, madam.
So you can have time to work on it. But please read the plays and take this course really seriously. It will improve you at all levels. Okay? I don't care how you came into this course, whether it was just given to you or you begrudgingly took it or something. But know that it can transform you if you give yourself to it. If you are in it, why not get all the benefits you can get from it and actually make use of it in whatever area you find yourself? And I believe that each of you has something very unique to contribute. So trust yourselves and give yourselves to whatever you are learning, and you will grow in the process and become great at whatever else you choose to do moving forward. All right. So, as we have met today, we are not meeting next week because you will use that time to read your plays, and you will use that time to engage with the next video I'm bringing up on 6 characters in search of an author, where I'll discuss characters in relation to the play. So, it's been nice meeting you for the first time today. I hope to see you on Sakai in terms of your engagement with forum discussions and questions you have, and your assignments as you engage with each other and also make submissions. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay? Have a blessed day, all of you.
Yes, madam.
Take
You
very good
too.
care of yourselves.
Thank you, madam.
I'll see you
Madam,
soon.
same to
You
you.
too.
All
You
right.
too.
Bye. I've
Okay.
recorded this, so I'll
Bye.
put it on your
Bye.
page.
Bye.
Okay?
Yes,
Thank you,
madam.
Okay.
madam.
Yes,
All
madam.
right. Bye.
Bye, madam.
Bye,
Bye.
madam.
Bye.